All right, everyone. NBC had an article the other day which kind of countermands one of its own concerns about Trump. Here's what it was. It was an article about how Sanders and Warren, a lot of people say like they're too far left, and they said, no. People choose a candidate that they like, and then they sort of swing into that platform, or at least deal with it. And so they're just basically, it's all about personality and charisma. Kind of true. I'm not denying that that's the fact. I think that's lowbrow politics. It's interesting that NBC is openly advocating for people to choose the candidate not based on what they're saying, but based on like how they look and how they shake hands. Number two, this was a big criticism and still has been by NBC and similar groups of Trump and Trump's fans. Oh, they don't even know anything about Trump. He doesn't have a stable platform. They just like his personality, which is, of course, orange and bigoted and bad and wrong. This is what they've said about him. There is a component of Trump's audience that really doesn't seem to understand platform or strategy or anything like that. They are in it primarily because they see him as just a generic solution to their problems encapsulated as a person. That is, and in some cases, it's more like a hold your nose vote. I think that a lot of people right now in modern politics, and this is true of Trump the same as it's true of a lot of, well, basically any of the Democrats, less true of Trump than of them, actually. A lot of it boils down to, I don't like this person a lot, but I'm holding my nose and voting for them because there is no real alternative. Like, I look at the Democratic field. I see one person who, strategically speaking, could be a viable contender against Trump, and a couple of people who might kind of sort of approach that limit. Like, I think that Buttigieg would be at least a sane candidate. I don't agree with many of his views, but he's capable of speaking. He's not demented like Biden. He's not irrevocably scarred by his past baggage like Harris, and he's not so far fucking left. He hasn't self-embraced the term socialist like Sanders, so he's technically a viable person. Warren almost kind of sort of approaches viability. Like Trump should start attacking her and ignoring Biden. It's clear now that Biden isn't going to make it to the general, I think. And if he does, like, it's going to be the biggest mistake the Dems ever make nominating him. I hope they do. I still hope they nominate Biden because it'd be hilarious to see a person clearly demented attempting to wage hour-long debates with Trump. It'd be the funniest thing ever, almost a little bit sad, I'm sure, by the end. And then Trump will win in a landslide, and the Democrats hopefully are under enough stress, so they kick the bums out of the party, reform themselves, and become viable. I would like the Democrats to be a party I could potentially vote for. But therein lies the problem. Regardless of personality, platform, whatever, I look at the Democrats and what they're offering me. They're not offering me anything. For me, as a voter, it's like when people say, well, the poor vote based on selfishness. Everyone does. I'm in the middle class. I vote based on selfishness, too. If I've got a bunch of candidates there whose platforms boil down to, you're bad because you're a white male. I mean, literally hearing that from some of these people. Like Joe Biden has alluded to, oh, the time has come to give up, for white people to give up the country sort of bullshit. It's like, no, I'm not giving it up to anyone based on their race. What are you, a racist? Very funny how the Democrats devolved to that. They want to raise my taxes. Some of them want to start more wars. Most of them support censorship. The only one who kind of has alluded against it, ironically, Bernie Sanders. I'll give him minor kudos for that. I think he'd sell out on day one, but at least he has alluded to it. We need to do more to keep tech corporations' monopolies from stifling free speech. Well, that's a good line. If only I had faith in you that you would actually do that if nominated and elected without doubling my tax burden, I might even consider voting for you. Hell, you're even from my own state and I can't support you. Big problem. Reminder that Tulsi Gabbard still exists. She put out a video the other day chastising the Trump admin for wanting to step in and fight alongside this. Like Trump had said that all of our assets were basically on standby to defend our Saudi allies, and I'm sitting there chuckling about it the whole time. Tulsi Gabbard's answer is probably go to war too, but only on the Iranian side, so I don't know. She probably would warmonger too. And despite military status, most people, when they get into office, they seem to become very pro-war very quickly. I'm wondering if some CIA agent doesn't meet him on day one and tell him about the alien threat controlling Russia or something, and how our alien allies it's actually like a space war going on and Earth is part of it. That'd be very interesting. You know, stranger things have happened. Just look at the JFK case. Keeping it real, though, here, to see NBC defending the idea that people should vote for someone based on their personality, it's almost like, hey, we know that these people are far-left fucking socialists who want to ruin the economy, but don't they seem friendly? Like they're trying to get people away from Joe Biden because Joe Biden is clearly not viable, and there's no other viable person in the race. Warren is pretty much it. Like Buttigieg, he still is 4%. Like I haven't seen any new polling suggesting a spike after the debate. We'll see over the next week, I guess. But, I mean, there's really no hope. It's basically Biden or Warren at this point, it seems. Kamala had her heyday. She faltered. Sanders has already peaked early on, like when he first got in. His peak was literally in the first month of the campaign. People forget that. Once you've peaked and gone back down, it's usually a sign you're not going to make it further than that peak. That's your upper limit, basically. Everyone else is already crowded into other people's fields. Now, if Biden keels over tomorrow, we might see a change in that field, but there's no indicator he's going to die. There's no indicator he's going to drop out. He's still the front runner. NBC, meanwhile, is telling Democrats, hey, basically hold your nose on all of their policy proposals. Don't worry about the fact that they want to increase taxes up the ass, destroy the economy, maybe in Warren's case anyway, maybe start a war. She loves censorship. And Bernie Sanders embraced socialism, which is clearly a non-working ideology. Ignore all of that. Look at them. They're like cherubic and they say funny things. Ha ha ha. Well, with Bernie Sanders, his personality, if you know anything of him, and as a Vermonter, of course, having to know a little bit more, he's a very dour individual. He's very businesslike. He doesn't do the smile and joke thing. He's very professionalistic and sort of barks himself hoarse at times, actually. He's very self-righteous. Elizabeth Warren is more on the pandering and personable side. She's more the one you'd have a cheap beer with, and it'd have to be a cheap piss beer because apparently she doesn't drink anything else. She doesn't even drink the cheap piss beer. Well, it's funny because isn't her husband shorter than her as well? It's like I think if I remember correctly, he is, and that's like really funny. I think she's rather tall, actually, for a female. I mean, come on, dude. Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, vote for Elizabeth Warren. She might destroy the country entirely, but at least you'll have some cute quips while she's doing it. Dude, if it's humor and personability, I'm just going to vote for Trump too. Because I know he'll say weird shit on Twitter every other day. At the very least, you get better bread and circus. Call it what it is. Okay, it's just a distraction from your problems. At least it's a funny one. Well, at least with him, I know if you satirize Trump, people won't call you a racist or a homophobe for satirizing him. The second that Elizabeth Warren gets in there, no more jokes allowed about the presidency, you evil sexist. By the way, you hate Native Americans maybe too. That's about all. Peace out.